I am born in a remote village in Odisha, Chandpala, Kendrapada district. It is far away from state headquarters, around 120 kilometers from state headquarters, near sea beach.
Yeah. Which year?
1956. During my childhood, I saw puppeteers going frequently to my village and then performing mostly globe puppets and string puppets, marionette, and globe puppets in Odisha is known as Sakhi Kandainata, a different name. And string puppet in Odisha is known as Ramalila Kandainata. And shadow puppet in Odisha is known as Ravana Chhaya. Three different names, and another puppet is the rod puppetry. It is known as Ramalila Kandainata. So Odisha is the only state one sees four kinds of puppet art nowhere seen in India and abroad also. So I am fortunate, and in my childhood I have seen all the four kinds of puppetry in my state.
So, any memory of early childhood of watching, because you do not come from the puppeteer's family.
No,
Yeah.
I am not hailed from any puppeteer's family.
Yeah, but have you ever worked with any puppeteers in your childhood or?
No, I have not worked with puppeteers, but I have done my PhD on puppetry. That is strange. I completed my PhD thesis on puppet art of Odisha in 1991. Then immediately I got a letter from Kapila Chhaya, and then you have done PhD in puppetry and you are not a puppeteer. So it is something strange. So why don't you venture to modernize this tradition using your potential as a researcher? And I did it. So Kapilaji made me a puppeteer, made a scholar into a puppeteer. So I'm really not grateful, but I don't find words to offer her.
So, which year you came to this?
I got a letter from her in 1992, and the letter was like this: and you start your puppetery career as a modernizer of puppet tradition and bring Bapu through shadow puppetry, Ravana Chhaya style. And actually, the 1995 October 2nd is the memorable day in my life, and my premiere show was there in Gandhi Museum on Bapu Katha. Two episodes I chosen during those days: Bapuji, Sikhetan and Bapu, the visit of a legend, based on Bapu's two facets of his life.
Shadow
Puppetry. And my guru is Khageshwar Pradhan. I learned this tradition from him, and he was the disciple of great Katinanda Das. I saw Katinanda Das in 1979 in his village, Odisha. Then his fascinating personality impressed me to be his disciple. I have not learned puppetry from him, but his personality induced me to modernize this tradition.
So how long did you go through this traditional training of puppetry?
Puppetry, actually, I have learned this from Khageshwar Pradhan. He is my guru and he is a puppeteer, and he has learned this from Katinanda Das, and he has not also hailed from an puppeteer's family. So you won't find me except 2 or 3 troops from Sakhi Kandainata troops. You won't find any puppeteers hailed from traditional puppeteer's family. But all are performing traditional puppetry. That is strange.
Okay, so you have talked about the modernizing, the inter-tradition. So what are the techniques or innovations that you brought in to modernize this tradition?
You see, I am neither traditional nor contemporary. Where shall I stand? I do not know. I cannot explain where am I. But I believe in tradition, and I also believe in modernizing tradition. Unless I modernize myself, I cannot survive. So survival is completely based on your tradition. But my ideology is that if you want to modernize the tradition, you have no right to disturb the tradition. You have no right to disturb the tradition. So I am performing Ravana Chhaya The text is Ravana Chhaya. The music is Ravana Chhaya music. The puppet design is also Ravana Chhaya design. But I improvise many things. In manipulation, I manipulate in a different style. I sing in a different, not in folk style, but folk, traditional style and then modern style. Combination of tradition, folk and modern. Classical, I mean classical. So traditional, classical and then folk style. So amalgamation of these three styles I have incorporated in modernizing tradition. So Ravana Chhaya is like that. I am performing Ravana Chhaya and I have developed 8 more programs. Mahalakshmi Katha, then 2 folk tales, Mada Handi Katha, the tale of a beating pot, then Freedom Movement, then Bande Mataram, another program. So many programs I have developed.
You were a researcher, now you are a professional.
I feel proud of that. I always identify myself as a puppeteer, not as a researcher. I feel proud about that.
So we always have this, dichotomy, some kind of struggle between theory and practice.
Practices.
So, you have been now in the entire profession for almost 25 years. So
almost, yes.
Yeah. So how do you see that this is getting breached, the gap between theory and practice?
No, one should be very much authentic, very much sure about the theory. Unless you know the theory, you cannot go for practicing. You have to know the rudiments, the basics. Unless you know the basics, you cannot modernize the tradition. So I am a theatre personality. I am a theatre man. So I know the tradition, I know the basics, I know the rudiments, I know the crux, so to say the crux and the genesis, so that helps me modernize the tradition. So superimposition style, so manipulation style using fingertips. You know our puppets have no joints. You don't have joints. You don't have joints, and then you are manipulating in such a style that as if the limbs are moving. How that can be possible? So I am dividing the whole screen. At a time you will see some event is happening here, event is happening here, and event is happening here. 3 events at a time. So I always want to make the audience something to a different. I want to take them in a different state. So you have to you see this, you watch this area, and this area. Unless you divide the screen, you cannot portray, you cannot defeat what you want to say. So that I have learned from the theory. So that has helped me a lot.
Your family is also involved?
No, my family, my wife, she is also a puppeteer. She manipulates puppets. My son, he's coming for the first time here. Today is his premiere show. And he also a tableist, he also play with the guitars, and he also sings and so many things, and he is playing also, he is manipulating puppetry with me. And my elder son, he is also a singer and a puppeteer. So my entire family is engaged, and I am also running a school, integral school is there, and I am also teaching students. I am also associated with Speak Make, and there I am going remote villages and towns and cities, and then I am also teaching students, kids, how to improvise this tradition.
The new generation is coming.
Yes, no doubt about that. Unless I do that, so how shall I be a teacher?
So you think that this tradition will now live for a long time?
And will live. We have no right to say this is an extinct form of art. I am the last man to believe in this. So this is another episode like that, cultural politics. That is cultural politics. Declare is that a form in extinction, then government will sanction more money, and that will help us in doing so many things. You know that pretty well about the politics, cultural politics. So I have not applied for any financial assistance to any organization. I have never applied for. I have never applied for any financial assistance. I am what I earn, I spent it for this purpose. Now I am on the way making a puppet museum. A puppet museum also, very much, that will be open in near future, next year. Then an institute, Puppet World, another organization of puppeteers of Odisha, that so many things I am doing. So how can I believe that this form is almost in the shape of extinction and this that. I think that this will survive. You have no right to tell that it's a dying art form. No, not at all. Thank you.
Thank you.